convoy of Franklin. Today is October 19th, 1899.
Why do you think they're all here?
They're all running away from something.
Hey guys, Pete here. Today I'll be talking about the new teaser trailer for 1899, which I'm not really surprised to say looks super intriguing. This is husband and wife director-writer duo Baran Boudar and Jantje Friesa's follow-up to one of my all-time favorites, Dark. As the name suggests, we do go back in time to the year 1899, and every indication is that we'll stay there rather than jumping around to different time periods. Personally, I'm good with that. This team did such a fantastic job with time travel that I'm really excited to see what else they come up with. And from the looks of this teaser, there will be some strange and mysterious stuff going on. Bo and Jantje emphasize this, saying, "We don't repeat ourselves, we really hate that, but it's going to be a fun puzzle for the audience. We're going back to our mystery roots. All the passengers on the ship are traveling with dark secrets that they don't want to get out. It's built like a puzzle again. Knowing that we did Dark, everyone can be assured that this is going to be something weird and wild and crazy." Considering this is the first season of a show that we don't know much about, most of the analysis amounts to, hey, this looks really cool. But there are a few things that jumped out at me right away. This is a large ensemble cast, and it cycles through them rather quickly, so I appreciated Stranger Jonas's familiar face and the recognizable sounds of Ben Frost's score to carry us along. The sound here feels connected to the atmosphere of Dark, while still sounding like something brand new. The next thing that stood out is that all the dialogue is in English, which may have seemed welcome to some viewers who aren't used to reading subtitles, but the show is actually multilingual. In the interviews, the creators have stated that being true to cultures and languages was very important, and they wanted a truly European show with a mixed cast from different countries. This makes for an interesting setup since communication problems are built in. And in their words, at its heart is the question of what unites us and what divides us, and how fear can be a trigger for the latter. So what are we looking at here? The official logline from Netflix reads, 1899, a migrant steamship heads west to leave the old continent. The passengers, a mixed bag of European origins, united by their hopes and dreams for the new century and their future abroad. But their journey takes an unexpected turn when they discover another migrant ship adrift on open sea. What they will find on board will turn their passage to the promised land into a horrifying nightmare. The ship they're on, which you see at the beginning, is called the Kerberos, and the one that went missing is the Prometheus. You learn that from a newspaper that Emily Beecham's character Mara Franklin is holding up. Kerberos is from Greek mythology and is referred to as the Hound of Hades. It's a multi-headed dog that guards the gates of the underworld to prevent the dead from leaving. Prometheus is also from myth and is best known for defying the gods by stealing fire from them and giving it to humanity in the form of technology, knowledge, and more generally civilization. According to that article, the Prometheus had been missing for 4 months, and there's mention of the Devil's Triangle or Bermuda Triangle under the photo, but you can't really make out the paragraph text. Mara looking at herself in the mirror and saying her name and the date makes it seem like she might be losing track of reality or her memories. The newspaper could be a reference point for her. It is the Southampton Post and she's English. She's got some very noticeable marks on her wrist that appear to be from struggling against restraints. There's a quick shot of someone doing just that I don't know how to describe other than to say that it has asylum vibes. We see a few shots of her with other first-class passengers, including this hypnotic-looking one where they all sip their tea at the same time. And we see the captain addressing them all in that same dining area. He's a German named Ike Larsen and played by the stranger Andreas Pietschmann. According to the character description, he remains strange and mysterious to his crew. He's not only addicted to alcohol, but also has a very dark secret. And there's this shot later that could be him looking at a fire that takes place away from the ship. So this could be from his past, and that might be the dark secret they're referencing. There's one other shot that I initially thought was him with the lower class passengers where it looks like they're praying. I went back and looked at the previous teaser and noticed it was a different bearded character, and so that could also be the person that's looking at the fire. It's interesting that there's a clergyman and that they're turning to faith. There is another priest on board who's with the first class passengers, but we don't see them doing anything like that in this teaser. Later, we see quite a few of these steerage class characters holding lanterns and looking out into the distance from the deck. There's another behind the scenes video they put out where both said Dark was not about action at all, but this is really an action show, with a lot of violence, beating, running, screaming. And you see that throughout the official teaser, and there's some extra filming shots in the second video. I imagine this is either a conflict with the Prometheus when they encounter that, or they turn on each other in relation to what they find on it. That would seem to connect to the phrase, "What is lost will be found," from the postcard, and that could also relate to their secrets and the things they're trying to keep from each other. It seems like they're trying to be careful not to give too much away, but all of this does look tense because of the fact that they're on a ship together on the open sea. Throughout this trailer, you see these triangles with a line through them. They're usually pointing down, and that's the alchemical symbol for Earth. And if it's flipped up, it would be air. These appear to be everywhere, and if you're wondering, the symbols for fire and water are just normal triangles without the line, like you see in this image and on the telegraph ticker tape. There's no explanation behind the symbol at this point, and to me, it feels like it could be connected to a secret society or something along those lines. What they believe in, who are the members, and what they're trying to do are all mysteries. Once you notice the symbol, you can find it everywhere, even on some of the clothing from the photo they released months ago. But that's only on two characters, the captain and this woman who's wearing a green dress that we see sitting at a table with Mara. The fact that it's on her dress makes it appear that she's either a true believer or someone important in relation to this symbol and what it represents. Most of the images that evoke mystery feature this image. There's a tattoo behind someone's ear that another character is looking at. There's an ornate looking robe that has it on the back that I think we see the character named Ling Yi wearing in this shot where she's holding a fan. This is a little confusing because it looks like a kimono to my untrained eyes, but the name Yi sounds Chinese. Either way, she stands out from the other passengers who are European in origin. And there's one weird shot of her standing in front of a door where we see some of them who seem to be walking towards it. There's shots of buttons with triangles and a red light between them. And I mentioned the telegraph machine that was printing them out. I think that is connected to this mechanical device, which I think is a spark gap transmitter, which was a real thing used to transmit radio waves in that time period. I should mention that there was a pre-teaser they put out a week ago where they used Morse code to make the announcement that this trailer was coming out this week. It was a neat little gimmick, and I assume the images there were all teasing what we see in this one. But there are quite a few that aren't included, and I've tried to point those out as they came up. A couple that I haven't mentioned yet might be on the Prometheus after they discover it. You see some of the passengers and the captain walking around with lanterns, and everything looks destroyed and deserted. There are also a bunch of creepy looking kids, a couple of which might die or be killed based on what we see here. This trailer opens with one placing this pyramid on the carpet from under the table, and that was in a child's hand in the pre-teaser. There's also a shot there where a woman is holding a candle up to a child's face and sort of blocking and unblocking the flame, which gives the sense that he's catatonic or something like that. He's not responding to the flame. There's also a pregnant passenger on board who looks conflicted in most of the shots that we see her in. As the voiceover tells us that all of the passengers are running from something, we see her running away from something literally in the forest. And I do like this idea of characters being mysterious when we first meet them and getting to know things about them through flashbacks that the other passengers won't be aware of. This should provide fertile ground for speculation as to why they're making choices and doing things in the middle of whatever crisis they find themselves in. And there is a shot of this pregnant woman loading a shotgun that makes you wonder if she's looking for revenge. The last two shots I want to talk about are one where someone is moving their finger towards something black that appears to be reacting. It's a vague description, I know, but that's what you see. It almost looks like it's growing to reach the finger and looks really otherworldly. The other one is this closing shot where the ship is being pulled towards this giant whirlpool. It's a fantastic overhead shot, and it looks as though there's lightning under the waves, and I can't wait to see what's going on here. Statements like the passengers are all running from something and nothing is as it seems convince me that we're in for a wild ride. In the closing moments, you hear Anton Lesser's voice say, "People are oblivious to reality. They only see what they want to see, when all they have to do is shift their perspective to see the full scope of things." That voice might sound familiar as Qyburns from Game of Thrones, and his character doesn't show up in either teaser, but we do see him wearing a jacket with the triangles on his collar in the behind the scenes video. So perceptions of reality will be involved. We can see that there's going to be strange happenings on this ship, and they say it will be a visually stunning odyssey. And in that behind the scenes video, they explain more about the volume technology they used to film it. This is still pretty new, and from what we see in these trailers, it all looks like it came off looking pretty realistic. And I've already talked about that technology and how it works and what they built in my last 1899 videos, so I'll just leave a link for that here. For me, I'd watch anything the duo Behind Dark makes, and this looks to be up to my expectations. There's no release date mentioned yet, and I've seen a lot of guesses that it might be on October 19th since Mara mentions that date in the teaser. Dark did release on dates that were related to its story, but as a first season, this date doesn't really have any importance yet other than it was mentioned here. I've also seen that someone found the date November 24th in the code of one of Netflix's pages, but that isn't confirmed as the date either. It has been said it'll be out in autumn/winter, so either one of those dates could turn out to be close. There are 8 episodes in the first season, and I do believe it's intended to be a multi-season affair. I think I remember reading it would likely be 3 seasons total, but I couldn't find anything to back that up while I was putting this together, and I think that's a good place to bring this to an end. Let me know what you thought about the teaser and what you're most excited about for this new series. What are you speculating about? What are your theories? And do you think this looks like it'll be as memorable as Dark was? Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.